Estrogen dominance, right? We know estrogen dominance is like imbalance of our hormones. And what happens, when we are dominated by estrogen in our bodies, maybe irregular menses, heavy bleeding. Well, that's what we're going to talk about with Clementine Rose. She is a registered nutritionist from UK. So just hang on for 1 second, and Clementine, explain us about what happens when have estrogen dominance. How can nutrition help? And all these things. Hi there. How are you, Clementine?
Hi.
Yeah,
Hi.
great to see you all the way from UK. Like, at least we are connecting virtually. So amazing.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I was just telling our viewers, we are talking about hormone imbalance and estrogen
Yeah.
dominance in particular. And here we have Clementine. She is a nutritionist. She is actually an editor. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, you're also a wellness editor in London Times magazine, nutritionist and recipe creator. So many things, right?
Yeah, so I'm a nutritional therapist, so I have online clients kind of all over the world. And then, yeah, I'm also nutrition and wellness editor for a London magazine called My London Times. I do recipe creating for another company called Eating in London. So I do a varied kind of amount of stuff, but yeah, lots of
That's
things.
great. That's great. That's great. So let's talk about what happens when estrogen dominance amongst women.
Yeah, so I thought it'd be quite good to kind of start off about kind of what estrogen is and like its role. So estrogens are basically a group of hormones. So they play a really kind of vital role in sexual and reproductive development in women. So the women's ovaries make most of the estrogen hormones, as well as the adrenal glands, and also fat cells make a small amount as well. So they've got quite a big role to play in regulating the menstrual cycle. So estrogen dominance is basically a hormone imbalance. So that occurs when estrogen levels are effectively too high in relation to progesterone levels. So possible causes of this could be things like stress. In fact, chronic stress is one of the main reasons that women become estrogen dominant. Also things like diet, being overweight, also environmental factors. So we're obviously exposed to lots of pollution and pesticides these days, things like plastics and soaps. Also the contraceptive pill can have an effect as well. So there's lots of causes, but it's kind of quite a big topic,
Yeah,
obviously to discuss. But
of course.
yeah, so basically, there are lots of symptoms of it.
Sure.
Um, and I think lots of people kind of don't realize that they have estrogen dominance because some of the symptoms include things like PMS. So I think as women, we all kind of accept that we're going to get it each month, but it might be also hormone imbalance and making those symptoms more. Things like irregular periods as well, depression, fatigue, weight gain, headaches, hot flushes, particularly around menopause, also things like decreased libido as well, and kind of more kind of visually acne around the chin. So that's a really good kind of telltale sign of hormone imbalance and estrogen being too high.
Okay, all right. So let's just switch to your expertise on nutrition, right? So
Yeah,
and this is not a medical advice. We are not trying to diagnose and treat anyone. This is
yeah,
just a high level framework for like 10, 15 minutes that Clementine is going to talk about. So what
yeah.
are the type of any particular foods that women should focus on at a particular age, or just a food groups, or some kind of a seed cycling, something that you think that we should do?
Yeah, so there's loads of stuff that we can do, and that's kind of before getting tested and stuff. We can all do things to kind of manage our hormones. So there's things that we should also kind of be avoiding. So things like your refined carbohydrates, your sugar intake, that kind of can be really disruptive for your hormones. So keeping those on a low. Also things like including protein with each meal. So that kind of tends to kind of balance out our blood sugar levels. And it reduces the risk of then reaching for those high sugar foods as well. So I would say including kind of a fist-sized portion of protein per meal be really recommended. And then also things like increasing your fiber intake. I mean, we don't really eat enough fiber generally. So you can get those things through whole grains, you can get them through vegetables, particularly cruciferous veg. So that's your broccoli, your cabbage, your kale, cauliflower, things like that. So they are really good for kind of eliminating toxins as well. So they kind of help with your liver, and definitely kind of like getting rid of the extra estrogen in your body. Then also we could focus on healthy fats, so things like your oily fish, your nuts, your seeds, extra virgin olive oil, avocado. So they're kind of also really needed for nutrient absorption, and they're kind of our building blocks essentially for our hormones. So focusing on healthy fats, and then also reducing your omega-6, so fats, so your kind of saturated fats. So getting that ratio right is really important, and we all tend to eat a little bit too much of omega-6. So trying to reduce that would be really recommended. And then things like drinking more water, again, really, really important. And also if you can try and drink filtered water as well. So you can get those machines that have filtered water, or things like adding charcoal, like activated charcoal in your water bottle. Those things are really helpful as well. And yeah, seed cycling. Did you mention seed cycling? Yeah, so seed is a good one. So it's eating kind of different kinds of seeds throughout your menstrual cycle. So that's meant to have kind of a really good effect on balancing out your hormones. I think I saw actually on your feed, you've got a kind of a little picture of that, which was really useful.
Those are not seeds, by the way.
Sorry?
I said those are not seeds. Those are just plants. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then there's also things like lifestyle factors. So exercise is a really big one. We all need to move more. So even, I mean, obviously a lot of us are working from home these days. So just kind of maybe kind of every hour, if you're working from home, just get up and move around, or do like a 10-minute yoga flow. Just keeping our bodies moving is really, really beneficial as well. And also things like reducing our plastic intake. So when we buy fruit and veg, a lot of them are wrapped in plastic. So a little tip there would be, when you go home, just make sure that you remove them from the plastic straight away. And when you put them in the fridge, that kind of avoids kind of consuming too much of that with your food, because they can also be kind of endocrine disruptors as well. And then also things like using natural cleaning products, so removing kind of toxins from that as well. So you can actually make your own cleaning products with essential oils. There's lots of kind of things on Pinterest and YouTube. You can learn how to do those things as well. So just small kind of incremental things make such a big difference to your hormones.
Now, I think these are great tips. What you're talking about, so many different things, right? And these are small things which all of us can take into account on a daily basis. It's not just one thing that's going to fix, our estrogen dominance or the hormonal imbalance. There are multiple things, right, that you talk about. It's not only the food, but the stress reduction, the exercise, using the products on our, on our body, in our pesticides, in our homes, cleaning, so many different things that affects our day-to-day life. What else would you like to add before we wrap up?
Well, I think actually going back to the stress, I think stress is such a huge one. People are under so much stress these days, and I think getting that in check is one of the best things you can do, as well as sleep as well. So it's all kind of really closely linked. So if you're stressed, you're kind of unable to sleep properly, and managing that will be, like, regardless of food, one of the best things you can do. So things that you can do practically are maybe meditation. So you don't have to do hours a day, but just like 5 or 10 minutes a day. There's an app called, I'm sure you've heard of it, like Headspace. Also there's one called Calm. Really good because they're guided meditation. So you can do 5 or 10 minutes in the morning, or even if you're feeling stressed, you can just do kind of a few minutes of meditation. But that's going to really help lower your levels of cortisol, which then kind of build up in your body and cause kind of issues with your hormones. And also getting your sleep sorted as well. So with my clients, I usually go through kind of a morning and an evening routine. So the evening routine is really important because that's going to set you up for the next day. So just things like avoiding screen time, like 1 to 2 hours before bed. Also avoiding eating 1 to 3 hours before bed, because that's going to give your digestive system a break, so you're not kind of putting stress in your body in that way as well. But yeah, so stress definitely, and then sleep is a huge factor with hormones, because if we're not getting enough sleep, our body's not rested, our immune system's affected. So that even like, yeah, those two things I would recommend people kind of starting on
Okay,
before they
so
even look at
we're
food.
talking about diet. You know, of course, you talked about all the things. So first, you explained what the symptoms could be, what the cause could be, and then we talked about the diet that you mentioned so many different things that we should incorporate, and then not only diet, sleep, stress, what else, exercise, right? For four things, and then
So water, definitely drinking a
yes,
lot of water is going to help your body kind of function properly. So aim for, I mean, everyone's different, so everyone's like different sizes and needs and stuff, but if you can just aim for around 1.5 to 2 liters a day, and then if you can then put that activated charcoal in your water bottles as well, that's going to really add to it. But yeah, we don't drink enough water, so definitely water. And then also the protein, so make sure you're having protein
yes.
with each meal. Is really important. You can get that through plants as well. So there's obviously lots of vegans out there. So you've got your kind of chickpeas and your beans and everything like that. So just making sure that you have protein with each meal. I usually kind of, instead of weighing it out, I would say like a fist-sized portion is really kind of recommended.
Mm-hmm. No, I think, yeah, like you said, protein and fiber, we don't pay attention too much to the fiber. You know, most of us don't pay much attention. And then fiber is so important, to your
Yeah.
point.
Fiber's incredibly important because it helps kind of flush out the toxins. So there's two different types of fiber. You've got your soluble fiber, and then you've got your insoluble fiber. And you need both to kind of basically make your kind of body go round. But you really need to have the kind of fiber that's effectively like brushing out all the toxins of your body, and that's going to really help with your liver as well. And just kind of looking after your liver generally is a really good way to look to kind of balance out your hormones. So yeah, definitely liver support through fiber. And as I said, cruciferous vegetables is one of the best things that you can do. So just try adding that with each meal. So things like broccoli and cauliflower you could have in raw form, or you could have it kind of steamed. Boiling tends to remove quite a lot of the kind of nutrients, so I'd use that kind of method last. But yeah, definitely kind of fiber, just generally upping your fruit and veg intake, and also adding things like dark berries, so like a handful a day is going to really boost your antioxidant levels as well, which is going to help your liver. So you could do that in the form of a smoothie, just shoving like some frozen berries in a smoothie on top of yogurt, your porridge. Lots of different ways to add that in.
I think it's amazing. You've given out the entire hormone balance plan here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if I know people are joining now, but honestly, you know, guys, just listen to this interview. She's given the entire plan to you free. So thank you so much. I mean, it's amazing, all the things that you said. You know, we really don't pay attention, but if we start paying attention to all the things you're saying, we can at least start improving. But before we get into the medications and, you know, do other things, try simple natural food as medicine, right? And reducing your stress and sleeping better.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with my clients, I think a lot of them come to me with so many issues, and they think, oh, I need to get all these tests and I need to have all these supplements. But actually, like, I tend to like look at the root cause of stuff, and usually it's really simple things. And I think we all kind of turn to supplements when we think something's wrong with us, but actually just looking at your diet. Another tip I would say is write down or track your food for around 3 to 5 days, and even kind of track your liquids, how you're feeling before and after your foods, because that can be a really good indicator of kind of triggers of foods that don't make you feel good or that make you bloated, or like just simple things that then you can change without even going to a GP. So yeah, I like to kind of start simply with food, because food is therapy, as we all know. And just kind of adopting kind of simple steps can be life changing. I mean, I've had clients that have literally just drunk more water and it's just changed their life. So we don't have to spend loads of money on health. We can do it through food.
Well, thank you so much. I think amazing session. All the tips that Clemmy has given us, you know, just go through it. I mean, I can't remember each and everything, so you know, I can't do it. but amazing things that she's talked about. Honestly, I'm going to try all the things that she's saying. Not that I have issues, but still, I think it's good to have cruciferous vegetables, make sure the stress is reduced, with simple things like having more water, these kind of things. Well, thank you so much again for being with us. Thank you.
Welcome. Thanks
Yes,
for having me.
great, great. And thank you to all the viewers for supporting us every single day. And yes, with all my heart, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.